Yeah, this call is being recorded now, and I will move to the presentation. So let's start with this. So working with the Google Calendar API. In this particular lesson, we will learn all about the Google Calendar API, and let's talk about what is this talk. And we will deep dive into the Google Calendar API, empowering you to take control of the Google Calendar using its API. We'll explore its functionalities in detail, covering all the essential operations that are the read, write, update, and delete. And by the end of this session, you'll be equipped to leverage the API's full potential, building powerful integrations. And the target audience are mainly the developer community at Blue Coding, but generally everybody is welcome to this course. So here are the course contents, and I have created them. We'll get into the introduction of the Google Calendar APIs, and then we'll set up the development environment, and then we will set up our Google Cloud Console, and then we'll see how to authenticate and give permissions to the requests, and then we'll deep dive into the core calendar operations, and then we'll see the conclusion. I will share the references, and the feedback is welcome. So the first step is introduction to the Google Calendar APIs. So Google Calendar API allows applications to interact with Google Calendars. With this API, you can do the followings like manage events. You can create, retrieve, modify, or delete event on your Google Calendar. Imagine automatically adding appointments from a confirmation email to your calendar. Work with calendars, list, create, and delete calendars. This lets you organize events into separate calendars for work, personal life, or hobbies. Boost collaboration. Share calendars with others and send event invitation. This streamlines scheduling, meetings, and keeping everyone on the same page. Now, these are the functionality every user knows. This is what the calendar can do. But here we go. What we can do as a developers with the API of the Google Calendar to achieve all this functionality programmatically and automatically. And we can do this by using this automation. Like the functionalities open doors to crafting powerful application. You could build a scheduling tool, an event reminder system, or integrate your app with the Google Calendar for a more seamless user experience. So to the next slide. So first step is the development environment setup. We'll use Microsoft Visual Studio for our development and testing along with the Postman. So the Visual Studio will be mainly for authentication workflow understanding, while we will use Postman to communicate with the calendar. Let's have a look on the actual coding environment. This is my Visual Studio. And basically, this Visual Studio is a Microsoft .NET based tool, but actually, I didn't use much of the .NET functions. These are the general function for each kind of language. Like this is a simple HTML page with a welcome message and a button inside it. Any language, this HTML can be used. And I have a very simple script here with some of the properties and details. So you can say this is all in my Visual Studio, and I can just run it and we'll see how the page looks like. Yeah, this is a very simple page with a simple message, and we have a button authenticate. So in any language, you can do this. The only thing is what happens when we click this button. This is one thing in our development setup, only one page here with a bunch of JavaScript code of line of codes, but this is something I will explain a bit later. Now let's see another tool, that is the Postman. So as you see, I have already set up a Postman with a few basic requests, right? I have, I think, 5 or 6 requests, and through which we will go through during this course. and here will be some of the the variables, their values coming from the Google side, and I will show you as we move it on. So in our development setup, what we will do, the Visual Studio, to start the authentication request and then getting the Google authentication code, and using the Postman, which is the famous API testing tool, we will communicate with the Google APIs to achieve our Google Calendar functionality. Yeah, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so this is all about the development environment setup. On the next step, this is the Google Cloud Console setup. We need to set up the application on the Google console before we could start the development and integration. The application will give us the client ID, client secret, and a bunch of other details for our integration. So let's set up the fresh console in real time. Yep. So I go here on the in the browser. So I will just say this one. This is the simple console.cloud.google.com. With any logged in Google account, this will work. And here I see the list of projects. What I need to do is to add new project. I can keep any name, but I will say like Google Calendar API, blue coding, and I will create this project. Maybe it's a little bit lengthy. All right, so project is created. Yep, I will select this project here. All right, so one second. Yeah, one second. So I need to go here, API and services. Here, the first step is we need to enable the particular API we are gonna work on. So we go here, and I will search for the Google Calendar API. So this is here. Here it is, the first one. I will go and enable it. Yeah, Google will take a few more seconds to enable it for me for our app. Yep, it's done. Now here, the first step is we need to create credentials. Now here we will select it, and so we need to get the user data, the logged in user with this calendar integration. So we will select this and next. And yeah, we can set the name here like anything, calendar, blue coding, and this will be my email. As of now, logo is not required. The developer email. Again, I can try a simple Gmail and say continue. Yeah. Now, here we need to add scope. Scope is basically what we want to access in the calendar particularly. Now we will add it here. What we need actually the Google Calendar full access, because in this demo, I want to do all the operation like create, edit, up, delete, and read. So I think this is already listed here. If it is not, we can simply search here. So maybe it's listed because I keep searching this one. Other than that, we also need some more information. Like I need to read the email of the logged in user and some other information, open ID. So I can select all of them and say update. Yeah, so this is here. Both of these scopes like email and open ID are non-sensitive. Any application or integration can get the data, but to read the calendar of somebody, this is a sensitive scope. So why it is sensitive? that because this is the personal information and you are getting, and to go public with this app we need to approve this scope, but as of now we are okay, we'll go with the testing. I will save it. So this is the OAuth client ID we need to set up for the type of application. This is the web application. Client name, let's keep it as is, and then authorize JavaScript origin. If we want to specify who can or from which URL this app can be accessed, we do not need this. This is authorized redirect URI. Let's add this. This is our application, so I will add it here. I will add it 2 times because sometimes this slash makes a problem. Okay, let's go create it. Yeah, now it gave me the client ID. I will copy this. This is a public key which I will use in my authentication request, and this is done. Now I can go to this credential tab, this one here, and I can see this is the credential I already created where I have the client ID. What I need from this is the client secret as well. Client ID already I copied. I will go to the project back. So here I have set up a simple script and with the list of variables. First one is the client ID. Let me replace it with what we got from there. And then I have this client secret. I'll copy this as well. And here, just like that. And I see we have scope. First one is the user info, then open ID, and then this is the calendar. These are the scope which we configured our application in the Google console. And according to these scopes, we will get access. This is the same redirect URL, and this event ID or cal ID I just created. These are not required. So we see here we have the client ID, client secret from our Google console, while the scope from here, while the scopes are something like we configured our app for the, like what we access one from the Google Calendar, and redirect URL is our app. Before I go to the auth function, let's set up one thing. We need to go OAuth consent screen. This is the same configuration we already did. Just one thing I need to edit app again. So here is the same form we fill. I will say save. This is our scope page where we configure these scopes. On the next page, test user data. As of now, our application is testing. It won't support anybody until approved by the Google. So we need to explicitly add a test user who can log in with this app. I will add mine. Yes. Yes, you are right. Yes, you are right. Absolutely. So I added my Gmail here. Now we can use only mine account. So 100 of them can be added. So I can go back to the dashboard again. So here, so all the steps are done. Now just let's read this function. What does it happen? Basically, it's very simple. This is a simple button in HTML, and on click, auth function is called here, and authentication URL is built, and simple window dot location dot href. We will call this URL. This one is accounts.google.com. This is the basic URL for authentication to anything in Google, not related to the calendar. And then we pass the scope in the query string. This is the same scope we have here already in string. And then another parameter is include granted scope. So this is basically when we will redirect from the Google back to our app, it will tell us which scope you requested the access for. This is not required here, but this may be for the tracking purpose. Access type is offline. This will also give us a refresh token which we can save, and it is persistent for the next 6 months. Response type is core. It means you need to give us authentication code. I can also get the token directly, but this is a relatively safer approach. So